Hello, everybody. Um, Hello to you all. And this is a very, very unexpected live in the sense that I didn't know I'd be doing this until 5 minutes ago. Um, I hope you can hear me. I shall bring it closer. Um, Hello, Skylar. Hey, good morning to you. Good afternoon from here across the pond. Hello to you. Um, so I will just waffle whilst waiting for people to join in. Um, but it is a very unexpected live. I've been wanting to talk about this for months, but I haven't really known how to. And I literally knew I'd be doing this live about 5 minutes ago. So um, I'll just keep waffling while I wait for a few more people to join. But one of the reasons I just want to explain something quite personal, if that's okay, is you've probably noticed I haven't really done many lives since last year. And it's because of the concussion that I had. It really affected my shyness. And so I just haven't been able to. I haven't. A lot of you think I'm filled with confidence, and it couldn't be further from the truth. I'm a very, very shy person, and the concussion really impacted that. So I haven't been able to do many lives, I'm afraid. But that said, these things are sent to challenge us, and hopefully I will get past the shyness at some point in my life. Okay, so what are we talking about today? Um, I'd like to talk to you about soul missions and stage two because the two are interrelated. Um, it being on my path. I'm just going to explain something before I go into soul missions. Um, Being on the path that I have, I'm fortunate in the sense that as I've been embodying step by step by step for 10.5 years, as I go through it inside me, I get to understand the stages of embodiment. And I'm guessing that I'm supposed to do it that way so that I can help share what I know. So, what I know and what I always share with you comes from the experience of it, having come through a stage and then sharing it. But this year, I've kind of been holding back a bit, and it's because, in terms of sharing stages that I've been going through this year, because even though I understand it because I know my path. It Every piece of information makes sense after 10.5 years of information. But to try and explain these stages now that I'm in is to try and explain something that is beyond human and beyond words and beyond universes. And so I have been struggling to know what to share with you all and when, because my only desire is to help you. And I'm aware everybody is at different stages, and it's really hard sometimes to know how much to share because too much information just is pointless. It's just, it's just food for the brain. It doesn't help embody you. So for various reasons, I have been it's been difficult to know what to share and what to just keep going through and embodying. So that said, this part about the soul and its missions, and stage 2 is interlinked, and it's come from my experience of it that is still ongoing, and it will be forevermore for everybody. So I'm going to talk about the soul in terms of everybody on this planet, and what happens before they come into the human form is their soul chooses, your soul, my soul, chose to have a particular experience. Now, in order for the individual soul to have that experience, what is set up is the year that you're born, the month that you're born. It's all pre-designed. The family that you are born into, that immediate kinship of family. What's set up also is the experiences you're going to have in early childhood, in order for the desire of your soul, the experience your soul wishes to have, to be sort of cemented into place. Not for good, but we'll use the word cemented for now. So in other words, when you're born, the personality that your soul chooses to experience by, it's all set up. Your family, your childhood, the experiences you have in childhood. If all of that was not set up perfectly, then your soul couldn't have the experience it chose to have this lifetime, in its first soul mission this lifetime. So I'm just talking about this lifetime, because I know people could say, well, souls have millions of soul missions. Yeah, but I'm just talking about this lifetime. So in other words, all the circumstances are put into place. They're dropped into your design, so that in forgetfulness, the human, the personality, can have the literal experience that the soul, their soul, is wishing to have. Hope that makes sense. So after those initial childhood years where everything is sort of cemented into place in order for the personality to have the experience the soul wishes, it then goes into your teenage years where more of it comes in, more of those experiences, into your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and so it goes on. Okay, all of this is in our forgetfulness. So the soul chooses what it wishes to experience through the human in this lifetime. The baby drops in and then goes into the forgetfulness. Of course, how else is the soul going to have its experience if we knew what the soul was wishing to experience? We'd be able to manipulate it. So the whole point is that we're in forgetfulness, having that soul's experience. Now, in times gone by, generally speaking, for thousands and thousands of years, generally speaking, because there are the exceptions, the soul will make a choice. The child will be born, live its life having that experience. And if they reach adulthood, etc., the person will then transition, will leave the body, and find out afterwards, after they've left the body and their consciousness just rises out of the body, that being finds out afterwards, after transition, what the soul contract or soul choice was. And then it's in the surprise of, oh, oh wow, how could I forget? I had no idea. No wonder I experienced this, and this in the lifetime. I had no idea. How could I forget? So what I'm trying to point to is that, generally speaking, for thousands of years, the person doesn't complete the soul mission in their lifetime. They exit the body, they transition, and they find out afterwards. So in other words, at the point when they leave the planet, they're still in that soul's mission, and then they find out afterwards what the soul mission was. So in that sense, generally speaking, there hasn't been completion whilst in the living body with the living consciousness. I hope this makes sense, because I don't know how to explain it. But what's different for this era, this mass awakening of the collective, of humanity, what is different is that we complete what I call stage one. We complete that soul mission whilst living in the body. And the knowledge and awareness that I want to be precise about as data given to me is that we don't start our second mission until we have completed the first mission. And this is all in the body, all whilst living. So I'm going to use myself as a example. Just to give you, sort of more clarity of, well, what could be the first soul mission that you have. Yeah, I will just give you mine, and it will be different for everybody. Okay, but I didn't know this, but it makes perfect sense to me now. Is my first soul, my soul wished to experience in my first soul mission this lifetime. It wished to experience enslavement. And when I say enslavement, I don't mean enslaved to governments or society, that kind of thing. My soul wished to experience enslavement by people, meaning controlled by people, overwhelmed by people, manipulated by people, pushed around by people, bossed around by people, told what to do by people. I can honestly say I have experienced that all my life. and now that I'm out of it, it's very funny. It's that Buddha laugh. It's a giggle, because you think, God, no wonder, no wonder it was so difficult. Because it's when you finish that soul mission, towards the end of it, your soul, your consciousness, should I say, your consciousness makes you aware of what it was. When you're nearing the end of your first soul mission in this lifetime, your consciousness makes you aware of what it was, so that you know you've completed it. And again, just to repeat for clarity, it's only when we have completed that first soul mission that we can then embody in our body whilst living start the second soul mission. So the first soul mission, which I know everybody on this planet could relate to, involves the experience of suffering, forgetfulness, belief systems, behaviors we create through the personality. But the thing I really would love to just try and express is when you realize your own soul mission, the first soul mission this lifetime, and you retrace your life, and you can see why this and this happened, and it was all because the soul wanted that experience. So beyond the control of the personality, the soul wanted that experience. And when you realize that and be with it for some time, you just get to have this enormous compassion for every single person outside of you. Because who knows what each soul has chosen to experience through that human being, and that human being, and that human being, and that human being. Who knows? And so, you know, this journey of awakening, it just awakens so much compassion within us. The more we walk, the more we go through our stages, we embody more and more and more and more compassion. But when you literally know that beyond a personality, that beyond how a person behaves, there's this soul experience, there's this soul, there's wishing to have a certain experience through that being. It's just amazing. It's not just compassion for the person. There's so much peace. There's so much peace. There's nothing to speak to in that way. There's just the seeing and the seeing and the seeing and the seeing of everyone outside of you, and embracing them just as they are, just allowing it just as they are. So there's a huge degree, a massive degree of compassion. So going back to the end of the first soul mission, that will be behind the veil. That will be in forgetfulness through the personality. And as I say, towards the end of that first soul mission, your consciousness makes you aware of what it is and that you've completed it. And you'll be able to look back at when your mission is due to complete, you'll be able to see how over the previous years prior to that completion, you can see that you are actually coming closer and closer and closer and closer to the completion of it. But you can only really see that once you're at the end of it. So going back to the part where I say that it's only when we complete the first soul mission that we're able to start the second soul mission this lifetime whilst we're living. That is the stage 2 that I referred to back in March. So stage 2 for everyone is their second soul mission whilst living with the body. Now, during your awakening, during that first soul mission, you will most likely be given clues as to sort of clues in terms of what the second soul mission is going to be about. Okay, so they'll definitely drop in during your lifetime, however long you've been awake, or on the path. You'll definitely have clues of that second soul mission and what it might involve for you, and it will be different for everybody. But you can't be given that second soul mission until you've completed the first one. Because just imagine a personality, a human being, if they already knew their second soul mission, they'd just ignore their life and the first soul mission and all of that, and they would focus on what they were being told is their second soul mission. So it'd be complete and utter distraction from the clearings that we do, from the self-realizations that we do, from the inward looking that we do, from the time that we spend inside, becoming a higher state of consciousness, embodying a higher state of consciousness. So it would be complete and utter distraction if we knew our next soul mission too much in advance. So it's a perfect design. it is a perfect design for that reason. Stage 2 is why you came. It's why you're here. Your second soul mission is why you're here. And when it begins, there's a phrase, there's many phrases in the spiritual arena, and some of them can get overused, I feel. There's one phrase about being reborn or experiencing a birthing stage. And it's true that we can feel these stages where, but it's not really being reborn. Not in the stages of the first soul mission. You could call them mini births. But it is when you have finished your first soul mission that all that experience of suffering goes. It's like energetic chains around you in your humanness all your life, and you don't realize they're there until they're gone. They're released because you've completed that first soul mission. And so whilst retaining the body, having completed that first soul mission, as opposed to transitioning and being reborn into a new body, we're doing this by retaining the body. and it is being reborn. It is reborn. You are reborn. You just don't exit the world. And so if you imagine being reborn like a baby, where a baby has to learn, that's exactly what it's like. Except that you're aware this time round in remembrance of what your second soul mission is. You're aware of it at the beginning of your second stage. So you can be aware of it, but you have to grow into it. Learn to walk it. And that second soul mission can't be taught by anybody except you, except within you. Is your consciousness. You become the consciousness. And so the second soul mission opens up within you. It can't be taught by anyone on the outside. No teacher, no guru, nobody. You're the master. And you're learning and learning and learning from within you. Except that it's early stage of soul mission too. So you're like the toddler. You're like the new kid in the play school or the kindergarten. But it's like a new stage, a new life, but not as a human personality. It's a new life as energy. It's a new life as consciousness. It's a new life as light body. It's the divine purity of you that you learn, that you embody, that you give from, that you walk. And that's why you're here for stage 2. So stage 2 will just open and open and open and open and open. It's not that stage 2 starts and you suddenly know everything and you're suddenly aware of everything. No, it's another stage of consciousness that you're learning, that you're becoming, that you're being. But you teach you. There's no one on the outside that can teach you this, because it's yours. It's your soul mission, and it's why you came, because you can already do what stage 2 is already about. You've already done it. That's why you're here. It's because you have those abilities already, and that's why no one can teach you. So I hope that helps explain the differences. And in terms of the 22nd of March, which I know I said was it was a light node that opened up for everybody, for the whole of the planet, and that heralded, because it activated, it's always open. So it's not that everybody will start stage 2 on the 22nd of March this year, just gone. It's that the potential is here. And so what we'll witness is people one by one by one by one by one, in their own design, in their own timeline, reach their stage 2 by completing their first soul mission. and we will witness people completing stage 1 and going into this stage 2 from the 22nd of March just past. But we'll be witnessing this for at least 2 to 3 years. So it's different for everybody, just based on their timeline. And there's no rush. There's no rush. The perfection of all of this design. You have your own design, but we're doing this as a collective. We're doing this together, but it's per individual design. But there's no rush. There's nothing for anybody to be concerned about in terms of their path. Just the only thing to do, as I always say, is look within and observe the self and be in the heart. It's the heart. I know for years and years and years I've always pointed to the heart being the key, but boy oh boy, is the heart the key. It's the heart is the key to the second stage as well. It's through the heart, through our awareness of energy from the heart, the love given to the light body, that you become light body itself and not the human. And it's through becoming light body that you're then you will in stage 2 go further into that connection to the frequency that is aligned to, that is the Christed state. So everything is through the heart, everything. So I'll just leave it be there on that note. If you're struggling in any way, especially through May, because May is going to be quite intense for some people, for many people. May is going to be intense, not for everybody. But if you do struggle with anything in your life, just see or just notice in the mind, have I come out of my heart? Am I in a state of love right now? Because when you're in the heart, when you're in that state of love, there's no struggle. And it's how you expand. It's through the heart that you expand, through the energy of love that activates and activates and activates the brain. It ignites the brain with all the electrical impulses that go and join up the circuitry, the new circuitry within the brain that's been dormant for so many years. It's through love. It's through the heart. Everything is through the heart. This is why it's so beautiful, is you know, if you imagine everybody all over the planet, in all the diversity, in all the cultures, in all the religions, in all the upbringings, it's available to everyone, because everybody has this, and it's just a choice whether to come back to it. Come back to it. Come back to it if you're suffering, and stay and just be in that state of love within you, and just rest in that state of love within you, and you'll notice the peace arrive. And then when you're in that peaceful state, when you're in that balanced state, when you're in the place of love within you, then think about the things that are in front of you. Then make your choices or decisions. Then have thoughts from there, from love, from that place, that seat within you, your heart. It's the gateway to everything. And it continues to be in stage 2. So with that, I shall shut up. I hope some of that's helped. and sending you all so much love. And I'm just going to spend, I never do this, but I always wish I did, is I'm just going to spend just a little minute with you, just being in presence, just with you, rather than clicking the button and finishing the recording, is just to sit with you for a little minute and just be here now. And just breathe into your heart. Just allow your breath to relax, not force the breath, but just breathe into your heart, not your lungs, but your heart. And with the out breath from your heart, take that energy to your mind, to your brain, to your head. It's the movement of energy, of love, from your heart to your head. Just rest. Just rest there in your heart as you go about your day, knowing you can return to here in any single moment. That's the power that you have, the power of choice. God bless you all, and just sending you so much love. Bye bye.